You're watching SKN Newsline TV live on sknnewsline.com.
Why read the news when you can watch it? Introducing SKN Newsline, the Federation's only online TV news platform. SKN Newsline is an online TV news platform covering news in St. Kitts and Nevis. We provide a daily and accurate news on the big stories and stories of interest that other media outlets have ignored. You can watch SKN Newsline on our website, www.sknnewsline.com, or Facebook page at www.fb.com/SKN Newsline, and also subscribe to our SKN Newsline YouTube channel. SKN Newsline, your world, your news.
The Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the Cable because quality shows.
Now you can have SKN Newsline on the go. Introducing SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Search SKN Newsline in the Google Play Store. Download the app free and stay up to date with TV news in St. Kitts and Nevis in the palm of your hands. With this app, you can watch our news reports, watch our live news feed on SKN Newsline TV, engage with us and other app users in the chat room, look at our special features, send us news tips, and call us directly. It's news on the go. The SKN Newsline Android mobile app. Download it free today.
Think smart. Be safe. Get Keep. Guardian Emergency Alert Plus by Secure Guard. You are never alone.
Supporters of the opposition St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party marched through the streets of Bastia Friday evening to call for the resignation of Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris amidst bribery claims. A handful of supporters marched from Greenland's pasture down Keon Street and into the heart of the nation's capital. Opposition leader Dr. Denzel Douglas said he was pleased with the outcome of the march.
This is marvelous. The people have come out on the streets demanding that Dr. Harris must resign as the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. People are fed up. A watch, a pair of shoes, after party, dinner. That is what we have been sold to in the international community. Questions must be asked by the media. Why is the German ambassador here in St. Kitts today? What is it he presented to the Attorney General of St. Kitts and Nevis? What is it? We demand to know the contents of his letters presented to the government and the Attorney General in particular. Is there some advance notice that tapes are going to be revealed? We need to know.
Asked what his party will do next in its bid to force the Prime Minister to resign, Dr. Douglas said,
"We will have signatures of citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis in a petition demanding his resignation. We shall take it, of course, to the highest level of the land. We shall take it to the Parliament, and we will not come off the streets. Harris must resign."
Disgrace the name of St. Kitts and Nevis. Imagine that the court in London has said that there is sufficient evidence to suggest that the businessman involved in the bribery scandal was willing and was negotiating bribes with Caribbean politicians, two of which were named.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris said last Sunday that he will not be resigning, suggesting that the information being used to implicate him for bribery is not credible. That information he's referring to is a transcript of a phone conversation with business tycoon Peter Singh Birdy, who has been tried in the UK High Court on tax fraud. Evidence gathered included the transcript of a phone conversation between Mr. Verdi and his business partner, where Mr. Verdi spoke of an alleged conversation he had with the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and an Antiguan government minister discussing a bribe. The Antiguan minister was Asset Michael, who has since resigned. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Ladies, want the finest in hair care services? Then come to Diva Hair in Pond Extension, Basse-Terre. We do nails, relaxers, weaves, haircuts, customs wig, color, hair treatment, lashes, and so much more. Our salon is clean and comfortable even while you wait. We take appointments only. Opened on Mondays and Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with the last appointment at 5 p.m. Thursdays and Fridays at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. To make appointments, visit our Facebook page, Diva Hair. Call us at 660-4884. Diva Hair in Pond Extension, for the beauty in you.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris has been dismissive of allegations of bribery claims against him. Addressing a town hall meeting on Sunday at the Edgar T. Morris Primary School in his constituency, Dr. Harris responded to the bribery allegations and calls by the opposition for him to resign.
Now I come home and people are cha-la-la and not getting myself in that. So those who have made themselves a puppy show on the radio, Timothy must say something. How I going to say and I'm not there with them? How I going to say when I don't know what is the truth from the lie for what people are saying?
Dr. Harris also spoke to allegations that seek to implicate him in discussing a bribe with business tycoon Peter Singh Verdi.
Watch and show and those vanities, them could impact upon my mind and my judgment on behalf of my people. Never. Craziness. That is craziness. And that is out of order. Out of order. Out of order.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister had dismissed calls from the opposition leader, Dr. Denzel Douglas, for him to resign.
We came here to report that I am not resigning tonight, I'm not resigning tomorrow, I'm not resigning next week, I'm not resigning next year. So long as God give me the wellness and soundness of body and mind, we will go as we promised 10 years of service for Dr. Timothy Harris as the Federation's Prime Minister.
Calls have come from members of the public for Prime Minister Harris to provide full disclosure on the claims he discussed a bribe with Mr. Verdi. These claims are based on transcripts of a phone conversation published in a UK High Court judgment this month involving a tax fraud case against Mr. Verdi. In those conversations, Mr. Verdi, speaking to his business partner, suggested he discussed a bribe with the Antiguan Energy Minister and the Prime Minister of St. Kitts. The Antiguan minister in question, Asset Michael, has since resigned. The opposition has since called for the Prime Minister to resign, but legal luminaries such as Charles Wilkin QC and Dr. Henry Brown QC have both suggested that the transcripts do not implicate the Prime Minister criminally. However, Mr. Wilkin and others have called for full disclosure from the Prime Minister. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Think smart. Be safe. Get keep. Guardian Emergency Alert Plus by Secure Guard. You are never alone.
The just concluded tourism season was a mixed one for some tourism stakeholders. SK Newsline spoke to two players in the industry to get some insight into the just concluded tourism season. Maurice Widdowson, owner of Carabel Boutique, one of the prime tourist attractions in St. Kitts, told SK Newsline that the season was a challenging one. We caught up with him after Saturday's Tourism Experience Award ceremony.
Strangely enough, it was one of the most challenging seasons I've ever had. But these were factors beyond our control. But from a development of the business and a development of the product and a development of the staff point of view, it's been a really productive year.
Another major player in the industry, Greg Pereira of Greg Safaris, had a different story. He said the tourism season was a great one due to increased tourist arrivals. This, he noted, was due to other destinations impacted by Hurricanes Irma and Maria.
It was a great season for us, especially because, we were lucky in that we benefited from the hurricane affecting other islands, and we saw a rapid increase in the cruise ship tourism. But all in all, I'm very excited about the coming season. I think we had a great year, and I'm really looking forward to the other year.
Both Mr. Pereira and Mr. Widdowson won awards on the weekend from the Tourism Excellence Awards for their contributions to the tourism sector. Mr. Widdowson won a Lifetime Achievement Award, and Mr. Pereira won the Kitchen Experience Award.
But I'm just the tip of a very large iceberg or a very large pyramid. And below me receiving the award are 36 people that made it all possible. And, it's a pity that collectively Carrie Bell Batik wasn't on stage with me, and that's a real great shame, because I sort of represent Carrie Bell Batik, but this achievement is the work of at least 36 people. Every single one of us has contributed to this, and I think there's a sense amongst my staff, and certainly I'll have a staff meeting on Tuesday morning for those that weren't here tonight, that it's their effort and their work and their skills that have made all this possible.
I want to say, especially for my team, thank you very much, because together we've done it, not just me. We're very lucky because we have the type of vehicle where you can go off-road and enjoy the backcountry of St. Kitts. So we're very proud to offer folks a chance to see the interior. So we drive them through the rainforested mountains. We stop at properties that have old plantation homes, scenic mountaintop views, old sugar mill sites. We even visited an old church where there was a major abolitionist called James Ramsey. So we love to explore the backcountry on our tours and talk about the history, the natural assets, and just the people and culture of St. Kitts. I'm very proud of doing what we do, and I really can't say enough to thank my team for giving me this award.
The Tourism Excellence Awards ceremony was held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort last Saturday. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
As a fisherman, I use the marine resource wisely so I can conserve our biodiversity, so I can fish for life. It's all about balance.
I preserve biodiversity by the way that I farm. It takes care of my family. It's all about balance.
I have enjoyed these seas all my life. I do my best to conserve our biodiversity because I want my children and my grandchildren to enjoy them as much as I do. It's all about balance.
I'm a park ranger, and my job is to properly manage our protected areas and conserve our biodiversity. It's all about balance.
Youth, let's play a part in conserving our biodiversity and maintaining our natural resources. It's all about balance.
For life, for livelihood, for the future of St. Kitts and Nevis, let's all conserve our biodiversity and use our natural resources wisely. It's all about balance.
President of the People's National Party's youth organization, PNPYO, Crystal Tomlinson, is challenging Kittitian politicians to change the way the nation's youth are viewed. Speaking at the St. Kitts and Nevis's Labour Party's 86th annual conference on Sunday, Ms. Tomlinson outlined issues affecting local youth. She says the concerns of the youth extend far beyond education.
And so the concerns of youth far extend beyond just access to education. It concerns matters of maternal health, because mothers, unfortunately, even in their teenage years, are having babies. And so questions of maternity and access to quality health care affect youth. It's not just about what happens on a school campus. So when we think about youth participation, youth concerns, and youth problem solving, I want to challenge us to widen the scope to think of youth as adults too. And the same challenges we have, whether it is about the tax structure, whether it is about health care, access to higher education, whatever that scope of reference is for big people, it is a similar scope of reference for youth.
Currently, St. Kitts identifies youth as persons aged 16 to 35. Ms. Tomlinson also encouraged the opposition to ask local youth for their opinions on matters relating to nation building. In addressing the youth directly, the PNPYO president encouraged them to speak up and let their voices be heard.
And so I'm asking youth to be brave and to be bold when you are invited into a space to share. Don't be too worried about who will not feel good after you speak. Don't be too worried about who might not agree with the things that you have to say. It is very important that you say them, because nobody quite understands, like youth, in the same way that my grandmother can speak for her generation, nobody quite understands the peculiarities of our generation like we do.
Ms. Tomlinson also spoke to the advantages of online or electronic voting, a matter she has raised in her home country of Jamaica.
And so if we can build a system that preserves the integrity of the electoral process, let us build a more efficient one. One that in some countries saves 3,000 working hours a year because people can stay at their office, do the voting and get back to work. One that saves you the time and harassment of a polling station by doing it at home. One that allows a person with a disability to not have to be physically carried out of their homes, but to sit where they are and participate privately and with dignity in the voting process.
She encouraged the youth present to challenge those in power, encouraging them to be political with their ideas and consistently find new solutions to problems. The opposition's 86th annual conference was held under the theme, Labour, Stronger, Safer, Better for You. For SKN Newsline, I'm Gabrielle Thompson.
The Cable, we provide much more than just the fastest and most reliable internet service. We fill the homes of all our customers with joy and laughter. Our services connect friends and keep families together. With the most extensive fiber optic network, we ensure that you can enjoy the things you love with the people you love. Whether it's catching up with family or old friends, or simply just enjoying your favorite TV shows, people choose the Cable because quality shows.
Opposition MP Marcella Library is chiding the Team Unity government for wanting to restrict Commonwealth nationals living in St. Kitts and Nevis from voting in general elections. Currently, Commonwealth citizens living legally in the Federation for a year are eligible to register to vote. But according to Ms. Library, the proposed amendment to the Elections Act 2018, tabled for the first reading in Parliament recently by the government, would seek to only allow Caribbean Commonwealth citizens who have been residing in the country for 3 years to vote.
You know that Commonwealth citizens who have spent 12 months, would be able to vote, who are resident for 12 months. They've carried up the residency to 3 years, okay? But more than that, they have also amended the definition of Commonwealth. And so only the Caribbean is part of the Commonwealth for the purposes of this legislation. So people, places like Canada, United Kingdom, India, Nigeria, and so on, they are no longer part of the Commonwealth for the purposes of this act, right? Interesting, because I would think, just recently, for example, as far as I know, the Prime Minister went to England for a meeting of Commonwealth heads.
MP Library suspects that this Commonwealth issue is being designed to target especially residents from African countries residing on St. Kitts.
The Africans are really trying to get at, because they seem to have a problem with Africans. Because the Honorable Sean Richards, when he was talking about the act, said that, oh, these Africans would come here and live here for 1 or 2 months and then go to register. That's what he said in the program. Live here for 1 or 2 months. When the act specifically said you have to live here for 12 months. But he knows that they come for 1 or 2 months and then they go and register. It was himself and Janelle Powell on the program. And he said, Janelle could tell you. Well, I want to tell you and the public. Janelle Powell took issue with these Nigerians for quite some time, to the extent where people were even trying to perpetrate criminal acts against them, right? Which I thought was distasteful. But then he sought to take either 2 or 3 of them to court with the same story, that they're not qualified to register. And he lost the case.
According to Ms. Leiber, this is hypocrisy on the part of the government, considering the Federation is still a member of the Commonwealth.
You know what's interesting? We benefit from certain things because we're part of the Commonwealth, right? Certain funds, certain benefits. Suppose they were to say, for the purposes of these benefits, these particular benefits, St. Kitts and Nevis is not part of the Commonwealth. I wonder what would we say? I just think the whole thing is highly ridiculous.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris at his most recent press conference argued that the government has begun engaging in public dialogue on that issue and other matters pertaining to the amendments, including the Commonwealth voters. The issue of Commonwealth voters has been a talking point not only in St. Kitts and Nevis, but also in Barbados. 13 Commonwealth citizens in Barbados who were denied the right to vote in the upcoming Barbados elections have been added to the voters list, following a ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice last Sunday. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
As a fisherman, I use the marine resource wisely so I can conserve our biodiversity, so I can fish for life. It's all about balance.
I preserve biodiversity by the way that I farm. It takes care of my family. It's all about balance.
I have enjoyed these seas all my life. I do my best to conserve our biodiversity because I want my children and my grandchildren to enjoy them as much as I do. It's all about balance.
I'm a park ranger, and my job is to properly manage our protected areas and conserve our biodiversity. It's all about balance.
Youth, let's play a part in conserving our biodiversity and maintaining our natural resources. It's all about balance.
For life, for livelihood, for the future of St. Kitts and Nevis, let's all conserve our biodiversity and use our natural resources wisely. It's all about balance.
A juvenile from the St. Paul's community who was taken into police custody on May 16th to assist with the ongoing investigation into the death of Sergeant Dwight Davis was on May 19th formally charged on a warrant in the first instance for the offense of murder. The juvenile was charged in the presence of probation officer and is currently in police custody. Despite this, investigation into the matter continue, according to police. The Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force is thanking the general public for those who assisted in advancing the case. However, they say that if there is anyone who still has information that can further help with the investigation, they are urged to call any police station or the Violent Crimes Unit at 467-1887, 467-1888, or 662-3468. Sergeant Davis was laid to rest on Thursday. He was found dead on a dirt road in the vicinity of the railway line in Deer Bay by two passers-by. A $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for the crime was issued by the police. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Come on down to Kingdom Hair on Church Street, Bastille for all your hair accessories and supplies. At Kingdom Hair, you get the best in braids, weaves, wigs, accessories, barber supplies, manicure and pedicure supplies, and cosmetics. We take it to another level with electrical items, hair products, and salon furniture. Our customer service is second to none and is seen from the very moment you enter our store. All at Kingdom Hair in the Charles Wilkin Building on Church Street, Bastille. Telephone number 466-8727. Kingdom Hair, your beauty supply store.
Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda Gaston Brown has accepted the resignation of former Trade and Investment Minister Assat Michael. Mr. Michael issued his resignation earlier this week from the newly formed Antigua and Barbuda government amid speculation that he was among Caribbean politicians who had received bribes from a British investor. Mr. Brown says allowing Assat Michael to retain his position would cast unnecessary speculation on his government and their efforts.
As I understand it, it is an attempt to commit a bribe, and as you know, an attempted bribery is illegal. So it's on that basis that the NCA would have arrested him last October, and potentially the matter could go further. We're not too sure how far it will go. If the actual bribe action had taken place, then clearly it would have been a slam dunk. I'm not too sure the fate of the minister, but I took a position that we have a country to govern. And the last thing we want at this point is any form of distraction in the governance of the country. We believe in running a transparent, accountable government, one that is free of corruption. And I do not want to have any speculation that we are potentially harboring someone who may have been involved in any form of criminal activity. Now, nothing that I say here should impugn the character of the former minister or suggest his guilt or innocence.
The Prime Minister says he's all about operating a fully transparent government.
I understand my own thinking as the Prime Minister of the country, that we are gung-ho about operating a fully transparent and accountable government, and where people end up having personal liabilities, those liabilities should not be transferred to an institution. They have to face the consequences of their own action, and that's the basis on which, let's put it this way, that he was encouraged to resign in the interests of the government.
When asked if Assat Michael would have a place in his government in the future, Prime Minister Brown gave the following remarks.
The outcome of the litigation will determine his future. What I do know is that there's no possibility of him serving in my government at this time, or in the future for that matter, if he's incriminated.
Prime Minister Gaston Brown was speaking at the 3rd Annual Caribbean Investment Summit held at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. For SKN Newsline, I'm Gabrielle Thompson.